Hello everyone. I hope you all are doing great and enjoying your summer vacations. Today I am back with the revision video of Pol Science Chapter 1 Constitution Why and How. It is from the book Indian Constitution at Work. But before I start with this revision video, I request you all to please like, share and subscribe this channel to remain updated with the latest videos. Students, as you know that we have already completed this chapter and even discussed the MCQ questions in our previous revision video. Today we will do a small revision with the help of the back exercise given in the end of the chapter. I have mentioned the page numbers as well. So let's start from page number 23 of your NCERT book. While doing this revision, you can even keep your NCERT book along with this, and whatsoever answers I have written, you can write it in your book. So question number 1 is that which of these is not a function of the constitution? Means out of these four functions, which is the function is not performed under the constitution? First, that it gives a guarantee of the rights of the citizen. Definitely it gives a right, as we have learned about the human rights, the fundamental rights, all are granted by the constitution of the country. B, that it marks out different spheres of power for different branches of government. As we have already discussed that the different branches of government are there like executive, legislative, judiciary, and it is all divided under the constitution. See that it ensures that good people come to power. No, it is not a kind of right statement. It is not a function of the constitution. As I have written in the answer as well that C is not a correct option. The constitution is responsible for the framework of distribution of power, but not for the personal integrity. Means constitution won't choose the people, that whosoever is going to position the power. And D, that it gives expression to some shared values. Yes, shared values include like liberty, equality, fraternity. So work like A, B and D are the functions of the constitution, while C is not a function of the constitution. Question number 2. Which of the following is a good reason to conclude that the authority of the constitution is higher than that of the parliament? First, A. The constitution was framed before the parliament came into being. Sure, it is true. B. The constitution makers were more eminent leaders than the members of the parliament. C. The constitution specify how parliament is to be formed and what are its powers. And D. The constitution cannot be amended by the parliament. So the most justifiable in this is option number C, that the constitution specify how parliament is to be framed and what are its powers. As we have already discussed that the whole point of having a constitution is to keep the government, especially the legislature or the parliament, and this is the main work of the constitution. So this considered to be the most important or most appropriate option. Now question number 3 on page number 24. In this there are true or false statements. A. Constitutional written documents about formation and power of the government. It is a true statement. Second, B. Constitution exists and are required only in a democratic country. No beta, it is a false statement, as whether a country is democratic or non-democratic, every country requires certain fundamental principles to govern a country. So constitution is required. C. Constitution is a legal document that does not deal with ideals and values. It is a half wrong statement, as we know that constitution is a legal document, but at the same time it deals with ideals and values as well. So it is a false statement. And lastly, D. A constitution gives its citizens a new identity. Yes, it is a true statement. And because of the constitution, we feel protected in the country. Question number 4. That state whether the following interference about the making of the Indian constitution are correct or incorrect. Give reason to support your answer. The first one, A. The Constituent Assembly. As I have told you what is the meaning of Constituent Assembly when I had done the chapter. The people who were responsible in the formation of the constitution at that time, the members. The Constituent Assembly did not represent the Indian people since it was not elected by all citizens. The statement is incorrect because the Constituent Assembly was elected by the members of the provincial legislative assemblies. And I have explained you the exact meaning of provincial legislative assemblies. It also include the members from every province, religious group, and given representation in the assembly. So it is an incorrect statement. B. Constitution making did not involve any major decision, since there was a general consensus among the leaders at that time about this basic framework. It is also an incorrect statement because there are several arguments and queries on most of the provisions, and each clause of the Constitution was subjected to scrutiny and debate, and because of this it took so much of time to form a constitution. Leaders like Dr. Ambedkar, Pandit Nehru, Rajendra Prasad, and Maulana Azad Sardar Patel, they won't agree on anything so easily. And lastly, there was little originality in the constitution because much of it was borrowed from other countries. It is a true statement, as we have learned that there are various provisions of our constitution which we borrowed from the constitution of different countries, because that they are those provisions which inspired the members of the Constituent Assembly and were suitable to the people of India. Now question number 5. Give two examples each to support the following conclusion about the Indian Constitution. After learning about the Indian Constitution, you have to write two statements in support of these points which are written over here. The first one is that the Constitution was made by credible leaders who commanded people's respect. Yes, it's true, because whosoever was member of the Constituent Assembly at that time were actually having a great respect among the people, and people respect their decision as well, and that is why they were chosen as the members. And apart from that, there were several seats which were allotted to various members of the various provinces and the princely states according to the proportion of those people in the population. Every religious people were considered respected and given seat. So because of this, the people actually had a trust in the members of the Constituent Assembly. The B. Second one is B. The Constitution has distributed power in such a way as it is difficult to subvert it. As we have already discussed about the horizontal distribution of power among judiciary, legislative and executive, and it also ensures a system of checks and balances, according to which that all the three branches of government, including the judiciary, legislative and executive, can limit the powers of the others. This way, no one or no branch becomes too powerful, and each branch checks the power of the other branch to make sure that the power is balanced between them. So it is all laid under the Constitution. Our Constitution is neither too rigid nor too flexible. Means we can't bring changes so easily into the Constitution, and if the changes are required, it is not that much rigid that we won't bring any amendments. So Constitution is considered to be a living document which can be changed, and which is neither too rigid and neither too flexible. And lastly, the Constitution is the locus of people, hopes and aspiration. Indian Constitution is formed on the basis of common goals of Indian people that were expressed during the nationalist movement. And it was also reflected the various resolution which defines the aims of assembly. It also expressed the various ideas such as equality, liberty, sovereignty, democracy, cosmopolitan identity. So these are the two support statements related with these particular lines. Now question number 6. Why is it necessary for a country to have a clear demarcation of powers and responsibilities in the Constitution? What would happen in the absence of such demarcation? So students, it is very much necessary for a country to have a clear demarcations because it allows the institutions to work effectively. And in absence of any demarcation, it will lead to clash between the various institutions. And just to remain away from any clash, there is proper demarcation of powers and responsibilities done under the framing of the Constitution. Now, question number 7. Why is it necessary for a constitution to place limitation on the rulers? Can there be a constitution that gives no power at all to the citizen? So the answer for this is that if there is a ruler and no government is listening to the people or the citizen, it will lead to authoritarian form of government. An authoritarian form of government does not allow people or the citizens of that country to speak. So it is necessary for a constitution to place limitation on the rulers, because absence of limitations would lead to authoritarian form of government, and it also threatens human rights. There cannot be any constitution that gives no power at all to the citizen, as they make up the fabric of the state. The institution of the state that are meant to serve the citizen would end up denying them their rights in such a scenario. Now, being a teacher, this is a question for you people. I have written the answer over here. Question number 9, it's given on page number 25. In this, Rajat asked his teacher this question, that the Constitution is a 50-year-old and therefore outdated book. No one took my consent for implementing it. It is written in such tough language that I cannot understand it. Tell me, why should I obey this document? So as a teacher, these are some points. First, the Constitution is not an outdated book, as it represents universal values, ideals and rights that are relevant to the society in every age. It doesn't mean that whether you were a part of the Constituent Assembly or not. The ideals of secularism, equality, fraternity are necessary for the creation of a just society. Just means fair society. The democratic form of government provides representation to all collective will of the people. Second, the Constitution is also a source of the rights and privileges that are enjoyed by all citizens of the state. Third, the Constitution has the provision of amendments. You can bring the changes. If you feel like that is not suitable to you, you can ask for the changes in the Constitution, as we have already discussed that our Constitution is not too rigid and not too flexible. Lastly, the Constitution is a necessary requirement for the smooth and orderly working of institution and maintenance of stability and continuity along with the changes in the society. Because it actually provides rules of law, places limits on power and prevents anarchy. Means any kind of a rule or a ruler's rule. So this is all for today. There are some questions like question number 8 and 10 are there in the book. That's your question. You are going to do the questions on your own. Try to understand each and everything. Thank you everyone. Have a nice day.